The rules of economics are stubborn, and if you ignore them, they have a way of catching up with you. No one knows better than accountants that you cannot spend what you do not have. And that is why I am here today. We are living beyond our means. We are spending more than we earn on welfare, on union pay rises, and increasingly on debt interest. Alongside record levels of taxation, this government is borrowing more and more money, and our national credit card is close to maxed out. The markets are starting to worry. But rather than focus on these serious economic challenges facing our country, Labour are too busy blaming the last government for problems of their own making. They are finding governing harder than they thought. I could have told them that. Just last week, Keir Starmer launched Phase 2. Phase 2 didn't even last 3 days. Deputy Prime Minister is gone after trying to avoid the very same taxes that the Chancellor wants to put up. So they've just had a huge reshuffle. It's a huge reshuffle, but it is born not of strength, but a political crisis. And the person who has caused the most grief to our country, the Chancellor, is still in post. She has already put up taxes by about £40 billion. That's the biggest tax raid this country has ever seen. And in the next 5 years, she will double the deficit. So this combination of record taxes and borrowing can only mean one thing: that she has lost control of spending completely, and investors can see it. I warned this summer that we could face a bond crisis if we carry on like this. And this autumn, like a risky customer, the markets are charging us more to borrow than at any time in the last 27 years. This isn't our destiny. It is happening because of the terrible decisions that Rachel Reeves made. And unsurprisingly, her figures are not adding up. She seems to think that the solution is yet another round of taxing, another round of borrowing, but that will just cement what I call the tax doom loop, which she's created. The thing that she and Keir Starmer are missing is plain to everyone else, including and especially people in this room. Because every family, every business, every charity knows what it means to live within your means. And if you don't pay your bills, you will go bankrupt. If you max out your credit card and the late notice charges start piling up, there's only one answer: cut your spending. This is a fact of life that we all have to live by. Ends must meet, and if they do not, there will be consequences. But this Labour government is behaving as if the rules don't apply to them, because they think they're nice people, and they are making no real effort to live within their means, because they're worried that living within their means doesn't look nice. So instead, they are leading Britain into a deeper and deeper crisis because of their pride. And I don't think that people have realized yet just how bad this mess is. Our children will someday have to pay back the debt that Rachel Reeves is now taking on. They will grow up in an uncertain world. They will enter a job market fundamentally changed by AI. They will compete with talent and capital in growing economies around the world. They will pay for our health, our social care, for the pensions we draw, for the services we need. And on top of all that, they are going to be saddled with paying for Rachel Reeves' wasteful borrowing. That is not fair. She promised to stick to the fiscal rules that she inherited. She broke that promise at the earliest opportunity to go on a borrowing spree. And what did she spend it on? Inflation-busting pay rises for the unions, the same unions that are going on strike right now. She spent that money on Ed Miliband's pet energy company, an energy company that won't produce a single watt of power, and a bill for sickness benefits that are spiraling out of control. Our children will be paying for all of this with interest on top, compounded over decades. They may end up borrowing to pay off the interest on this borrowing. This is like taking a credit card out to pay off another credit card. Nobody in the real world thinks that this is sustainable. There is a hard truth that we must face up to in this country, that we must be brave enough to confront. Britain's standard of living is not an entitlement. It is the sum of our collective efforts. There is no guarantee that we will enjoy a particular quality of life just because we are the United Kingdom. If we want it, we have to earn it. If we want to stay wealthy, we have to produce wealth. We cannot print it. And those politicians spending money on things we cannot afford or making promises they can't pay for are misleading you. They are fooling you. And your children, my children, our children will pay the bill. The Conservative Party is the only party that is talking about this. We seem to be the only party that understands this. And under my leadership, we will continue to tell these simple economic truths. Back in 2010, we inherited from the Labour Party a deficit never seen before in peacetime history. Gordon Brown had not fixed the roof while the sun was shining, so when the financial crisis came, we were exposed. The state was borrowing £1 of every £4 it spent. And it was the Conservatives, as usual, who were elected to clean up an economic mess. We came into office with a clear plan. We were honest with the public about what needed to be done before the election. We took difficult decisions, and Labour hated and voted against each one. But we reformed welfare, so millions more got into work. And we brought down the deficit every single year until the pandemic. And I'm not saying that everything we did was perfect, because if it was, we would still be in government. That's a fact. But we did take some hard decisions so that when a storm came, a once-in-a-century pandemic, we could act. We saved jobs, we protected livelihoods, and we kept businesses afloat. We got the country through it. But the pandemic is now over. Yet this government is borrowing for day-to-day spending, for welfare, for public sector salaries. Their only money-saving idea, the Office for Value for Money, is now being closed down because it cost the taxpayer £1.6 million. This is not serious. The problem is that the more Rachel Reeves taxes us and the more she borrows, the less we will grow. She put up employers' national insurance. We warned them this was a tax on jobs, so it proved to be. Unemployment has risen every month, bar one, since Labour won the election. These numbers aren't just statistics. Each one is a career terminated, a service never rendered, a family with plans ruined, a household in hardship. And what no one ever sees is the jobs that weren't created as a result of these taxes, or the young people who didn't get their first break. And to cap it all off, the government have let the trade unions dictate a raft of new burdensome red tape. They are, right now, pushing through an employment bill that increases trade union power and guarantees more strikes like the ones crippling London today. That bill will destroy probation periods as we know them and bring in day one rights that put young people and people coming off benefits at a disadvantage. And in a move we have never seen before, all 5 of the major business groups have come out against these new regulations. Angela Rayner was the champion of this war on enterprise. But now that she's gone, I say it's time for the government to drop this bill and go for growth. But what does that mean? It means backing business, not taxing business, better limited regulation, controlled lower taxation, cheaper abundant energy. These are the essential ingredients for growth. Everything that this government is doing is making life more expensive for all of us. After just 1 year of Labour in office, taxes and bills have gone up by £1,700 for some families. After her budget last year, the Chancellor promised that she wouldn't be back for more taxes, but we know she will be. All summer, there has been speculation and briefing from the Treasury about an endless series of tax rises, because that budget last year hammered growth. Firms stopped hiring, people lost their jobs, and hundreds of thousands more are on welfare. And with a series of unfunded U-turns demanded by Labour backbenchers and granted by a Prime Minister who is too scared to face them down, she has got a multi-billion-pound black hole in her figures. So what's her plan? She's going to tax us more. She's in the Treasury right now, I'm sure, with officials. I'm a former Treasury Minister. I know how it works. She'll be desperately making plans for anything she can lay her hands on. She will be looking at hiking tax on our homes, on our wages, on our pensions. Every single one of us will be paying a Reeves penalty this winter. This is the tax doom loop. The fundamental problem is our economy is being run by people who think that it is government that creates growth. It's not. It is business that creates growth. We know that you cannot tax your way to growth. But if they cannot create growth, then at least they have a duty to ensure that we live within our means and only spend what we earn. We all have to accept that government cannot do everything. There is another way. We need to have difficult conversations, not just about what government can do, but about what it cannot do. State spending is nearly half of GDP. Nobody sensible thinks that's sustainable. But as usual, the Conservatives are the only party really making this case. We are the only party fighting to protect the money you earn. The only party arguing the government has to live within its means. Every single other political party in Parliament today, every single one, wants to increase welfare spending, and they voted to do so. They want to lift the two-child benefit cap. They don't mind that our sickness benefits bill alone is on course to reach 100 billion by 2030. There are some people in government who must know that things need to change. You can picture their faces looking at the latest OBR figures, but the truth is they came into government with no real plans for how to save money, only how to spend it. That's why they are in trouble. And that is why today I am making the Prime Minister a serious offer, because the Conservative Party will always act in the national interest. If he is serious about cutting spending and really bringing down the welfare bill, we will help him. The last time he tried this in July, the Prime Minister was humiliated by his own backbenchers. He had to gut a bill just 90 minutes before MPs were due to vote on it. And he created a £5 billion hole in the Chancellor's finances. After his unexpected reshuffle last week, he now has a new welfare secretary, a new chief whip, and a new opportunity. The papers say he is gearing up for another go at welfare savings, but the backbenchers who blocked him last time haven't gone away. Even with a 170-seat majority, the Prime Minister is weak. Right at this moment, his party is gearing up to elect a deputy from the left of Labour, a deputy who will do everything they can to frustrate the changes our country so desperately needs. So whether he wants to admit it or not, Keir Starmer needs our help. If he wants to cut spending and stop this tax doom loop that he created, if he wants to stop pushing up inflation and stop crushing business confidence, he simply cannot afford to fail at this again. We cannot afford for him to fail at this again. And so the Shadow Chancellor, Shadow Welfare Secretary, and I are making him a clear offer. Sit down with us. Let's agree a way to bring welfare spending down. And I will offer him the support of the Conservative Party. This isn't a blank check, but I can say this. If we agree to something, we will vote for it in Parliament on a 3-line whip. There will always be some people who need support, and the Conservatives will make sure they get it. But the current system is out of control, and it threatens all the good that it was designed to do. This is an offer to work together in the national interest, to find common ground and get a serious plan. The country knows that it's the right thing to do. Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves have a choice. They can bow to their left-wing Labour MPs again, they can hike up taxes and borrow more and risk our economic future, or for once, they can do the right thing. I hope the Prime Minister will put our country before his party and agree to work across the aisle on this. He knows that it is the right thing to do.